कैंडिड इंटरफेस को स्वागत नमस्कार
नमस्कार
बंधुगण आज आम गहन अच्छा प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर विभावरी कुमार सी हेले डायरेक्टर निफ्ट भुवनेश्वर मु प्रोफेसर कुमार को कहबी सी तांको विषय रे दीपद कहिबे प्लीज स्पीक अबाउट यू योर चाइल्डहुड and I understand you have a lot of connections also with Odisha, so we are going to speak about that. I am sure the viewers will feel very happy listening to you.
Yes, so I should say that I am an ancient model, born and brought up in Rourkela. Almost 14 years I lived in Rourkela, and then on my father was transferred to South India, and I have been there in South ever since then. And I mean, I did my architecture from NIT Trichy, and then I was practicing architecture as well as teaching architecture for a decade, and then came an advertisement that NIFT was becoming a 4-year degree program, and my mother saw that advertisement and she was very keen that I should join, since it's a central government organization, and that's when I moved over to NIFT, joined NIFT. And thereon I started loving NIFT primarily because, you know, design thinking and design teaching here was more of a lateral thinking rather than a vertical thinking which was happening in terms of architecture, and it became a very you know, engulfing, very helping and very nice kind of an environment. I could grow myself very well here, and I stuck to this place.
So when you joined NIFT, you felt very enthused and very happy also.
Yes,
because
yes.
you loved NIFT and also what was happening out there.
Yes.
As you know, today's topic is a very interesting topic. The topic is happiness in today's fast-paced world. It's a very nice topic, and I'm sure it will be of general interest to our audience. Now, when I ask you, Professor, what do you understand by the word happiness? According to you, what is happiness?
Yeah, happiness to me is more of something that is insightful, that is something that is within you, and nothing to do with the outside world. I would also like to add a word over here as joy. You know, when a child is born, he is so joyful, he or she is so joyful, you know, they don't have any kind of worries. So that internal happiness is what is important. You know, Martin Seligman talks about PERMA, and as you all know, PERMA is you know, positive emotions and accomplishment. Today in the fast paced world, what are we looking at? We are looking at only accomplishment, and all the rest unfortunately has been, you know, not thought about. So
right.
Yes.
So what do you think? Happiness is a choice, a state of mind, or the result of circumstances? According to you, what do you think is the focus?
Ideally it should be a state of mind, but we are also humans, so to us it becomes all three, you know.
Right. Rightly said. Now, can we create a synergy between love and happiness? Because I am sure you will definitely agree with me, both are very interconnected. Because, you know, when you love somebody, somebody feels very happy, and again when somebody feels happy, he loves the other person also. So definitely there is a good synergy between love and happiness. How would you collate both?
Yeah, love and happiness, definitely. You know, see, I mean, we call love as only that is happening between two individuals that of the same age, but it's not so. Love is also a love between a parent and a child. Love has got so many meanings between a human being and someone above, you know. So love has got a lot of meaning. So yes, what is internal, what you feel inside is what is going to give you that happiness, you know. So love is in creating. When I create something, I feel as a designer, you know, it's a part of me that I have given in that. So that gives me happiness.
Like for example, you know, somebody is not smiling at you, but when you smile, automatically, the other person smiles.
Absolutely.
As a result of which, he feels happy and you also feel happy. That's more of a synergy between
Absolutely.
happiness. Another thing again which comes to my mind, and I thought I'll put it across, is according to you, what is the secret of happiness?
Secret of happiness is being contented with what you have. If you're not contented, you will never be happy, because see, as I said, in the fast paced world, we are always running up behind something, If you keep running, you will always be running, and someone as rightly has said, stop running and things will come to you.
Right.
So that is what I feel.
That is what is very, very. And another one thing you must have marked, for short term pleasure, what people, they sacrifice long term happiness. That is indeed horrendous.
Yes.
But people, they do that. So what's your comment on this?
I think, if we go by the definition of happiness and joy, this is exactly what the difference is. Happiness is always short lived. Joy is what is long lived, because it's internal and it gives you. Ingrid Fettel, in one of her TED talks, she's talking about the same thing. When she goes for a jury, I'm a designer, so I'm taking designers' examples.
Yeah.
She goes for her jury and she shows her work, and the jury member says, looking at her work, they say that I feel joy when I look at your work, and that's when she starts getting into the search of what really is the meaning of joy. So that is where, when she starts finding out, she finds out that, it's a child who gets a joy in small little things, but not.
Yeah, particularly children, they are happy with small little things.
Absolutely.
But ultimately that joy is transferred into happiness.
Yes.
And both joy and happiness, and they feel so happy about it.
Yes.
Very rightly said. Now, one thing you will definitely appreciate is, can adversity, failure in life reflect on our happiness? Like, for example, I was expecting a promotion, or I was expecting a good job and I didn't get one. So, these are all adversity or failures in life. And how does that reflect on our happiness?
Very rightly said. See, what happens is, we are also human beings, so it is very obvious that small little things would affect us. It's just how much of emotions, some people show their emotions on their face, some know how to hide those emotions, but somewhere that turmoil is actually going on within a person. So yes, anything is going to affect us unless we are in peace. As I said, happiness is about our internal peace. If you are in peace with yourself, then the outside world, the happenings that are happening outside are not going to affect you.
Right. Very recently you have taken over as the director of NIFT in Bhubaneswar. And as you say, you also have your connections in Odisha, because you have spent full 14 years in Rourkela, the steel city. Now, what I would like to ask you is, as the director of NIFT, how do you connect, this fashion technology, fashion education, because earlier that was not heard of. Say, when we go back 20 years, 25 years back, there was no course like, fashion technology or fashion communication or design and all. Now things have changed, So in this, I would say, changed system, what do you think is the role of NIFT, and how it is connecting with the prosperity of India as a whole and Odisha in particular?
Yeah. So to begin with, what you asked me first is, coming to me, at the point of time when I started my education, it was in 87, and 87 is when NIFT was actually just getting set up. And as I said, my father was posted in down south, so there were no other courses other than engineering and medicine, and that was the end. It was it, So somebody said, oh, she's good in drawing and painting, why don't you ask her to write an exam of architecture? Design education, that time fashion technology was not really known, at least in down south, probably a few cities, Delhi and across that, did know about it. But Today, yes, NIFT is a very well known name. Most of the people know about it, and there are students who prefer this and come forward and take choices. And it's important, I would say at this point, that NIFT is not just fashion designing. We are a larger and more number of courses we have in terms of design. We also design products, we design jewelry, we design textiles.
You also design jewelry also.
Yes, we lovely. Design textiles. You know, we design lifestyle products. For
Wonderful.
example, if somebody is wearing an eyewear, somebody is carrying a bag, somebody is carrying, wearing a footwear. All that is a part of our designs. You know, and textile, of course, because that's the first basic element before a garment is made. So we have a textile design department. So we have several design departments at NIFT: knitwear design and accessory design and leather design. So and apart from this, we have a department called as fashion communication department, and that's the department which, once all the designers have designed, they communicate it to the world, you know, that how it should be, whether it's print media or it is in terms of fashion shows or it is in terms of retail stores.
They make you know, what you all have done more visible.
Yes,
and they bring it to the audience.
Yes.
So that, you know, here's your choice.
Yes.
You can choose whatever you want.
Yes. And the youngest department of NIFT in terms of design is a fashion interiors department, wherein we are looking at, you know, the question in everybody's mind is, what is the difference between interior design and fashion interiors? So the major difference about fashion interiors is that we are concentrating a lot in terms, since NIFT is known for its textiles, we concentrate a lot in terms of textiles. We also concentrate in terms of trends and forecasting and what is happening in today's world, and what are the kind of colors, what are the kind of textures that people are preferring, and that is what is. And I would also at this point of time want to you know, bring this point forward, is that NIFT has got our own forecasting agency, which is called as Vision Next, and the world is talking about WGSN, but I am sure very soon, just as Prada is has carried our you know, Kolhapuri chappals to and glorified them, very soon the world will be talking of Vision Next, which is the forecasting agency from NIFT, started from NIFT for India.
Wonderful. One thing I would like to ask you is, you will very much appreciate, there is a gap perception between, say, fashion technology and you know, education. So for example, students, you know, they are educated mostly, you know, theory, some practical is also there, but to make it more industry focused, what initiative NIFT is taking so that there will be a, you know, I would say, nexus between both industry and also the students who pass out from NIFT. So what initiative has NIFT taken in this regard?
That's a wonderful question, sir. We in the classrooms, we get projects that come from the industry. So we encourage the industry to give us projects so that our students work on live projects. So in certain semesters, suppose we are not able to give live projects, we ask the students to look at how are, you know, say for example, if you are doing a sensory design project where you are working on a website. So what you do is you look at how is the website of a particular organization, and you understand that, okay, this website is not good enough, probably the logo is not speaking about the brand and the website is not doing that justice. So they come up with things and then they put those forward, they go and pitch it forward to the company organization, and we have seen in the past that these works which have been done by students have been actually taken up by the industry.
Oh, wonderful. That's great, that's great. Another one thing again which comes to my mind is, say for example, right from schooling in Rourkela to now director of NIFT in Bhubaneswar, you will appreciate one thing, who has been your inspiration to what you are today? Your teachers, your parents, your friends, your relations? or you met some guru, whatever it is, you know, who has been your major inspiration to what you are today?
Sir, I would say, you know, I look at it, every step has been an inspiration.
Yeah.
When I was in school, it was my teachers. When of course, your mother is your first inspiration. So, from there on to my school, to my education. But yes, I would look up to one person who is an architect. It was Jaha Hadid.
Achha.
And I really looked up to her primarily because she was a woman in a man's world, I would say. You know,
Okay,
she was she
yeah.
cracked that area and she stood there, and I feel yes, more and more women should you know, be in an area where they feel that women cannot be and cannot be successful. So
yeah,
yes.
that's great. Now I would like to ask you, what habits or practices a person should inculcate so there will be lasting peace and happiness in life? You can relate it also with your own personal practices,
Yes.
or something if you have in mind which is very personal, which you can always share it with our audience, and I am sure they will feel very elated about that.
Yeah, so I feel you know, when I am stressed, I love embroidery, and that's what I do when I am stressed. You know, so I pick up my saris, I embroider my saris, and so I feel, you know, if we look at even Indian craft, you can see, especially I would love to take the examples from Odisha here itself, being born in the state, that you know, they are so beautiful. If you look at Pipli, it's a community that works together. Such a joy in creating. You know, it's like
together they work in a
yes,
community.
exactly.
Yeah.
So there's so much of happiness while doing that work. You sharing stories, you giving narratives. Or we take a Pattachitra. That's where the stories of people are coming out on paper and so beautifully connected, and they're giving. You know, the stories are known by all of us,
right.
but it is an interpretation of an artist that comes out on that scroll or that paper. You know, so that is meditative, and that is what is you know, that is what gives happiness. And I feel inner peace comes through you know, looking at stress busters. It could be anything for anyone. To me, it is doing embroideries, or you know, I practice yoga. I am an ardent practicer of yoga. Of course, of late, I have not been, with all my travels and schedules with too many in places.
Right.
It's not been happening as much, but I make it a point that at least 3 days in a week to 4 days in a week, I do that.
One very interesting question is, you must have, particularly it is pertaining to the youth, you know. What happens, we see, you know, the younger generation, they move around even when they are studying or when they are working, and what they happen, they hold hands, they move around with friends and all, you know. So what happens after some time, also they develop intimacy and they also get married, you know. So a relationship which was clinging them together, suddenly after marriage we find, after a couple of months or maybe a year, again they go for divorce. According to you, what could be one of the reasons for this misery or this state of affairs?
सर कहते हैं ना, शादी एक लड्डू है, जो खाओ तो पछताओ, जो ना खाओ तो पछताओ. तो ये वही कहानी है कि you know, everything is hunky dory before marriage, because there are no responsibilities, there are no sharing, and you know, fights could come from even toothpaste or you know, the toilet seat not being lifted, and it could be small little mundane things, reasons which one starts, you know. So
yeah,
it's
compatibility,
it's only,
you know, between the two, that also
yes,
may be
yes,
a reason.
yes. So it's, I would say marriage is all about adjustment. If you you know, love does not mean that you know, every day your spouse comes back and gives you a rose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all about knowing each other, being with each other, understanding each other, and adjusting. That is the biggest important.
That's very, very important. Yeah,
yes,
definitely. I fully agree
yes.
with you. Now, another one thing I would like to ask you is, you know, in happiness, quite often we discuss about love. Now, when you come to divine love, how do we differentiate between the two? One is love and the other is divine love.
Sir, if love, you're meaning a love between two individuals who are looking for a proposal to get married, yes, it is very different vis-a-vis love that is divine, because I feel it is, to me it is very, very internal, and I feel if it is love between me and my God, then it is an internal love which I would not want to share as such, because I feel कि जो दिल में है वो दिल में ही रहे.
दिल में ही रहना चाहिए. True. Now, one thing is, how important you consider is mental health. Don't you think we should create an awareness on mental health, where we should say that we should always look for happiness, we should always look for joy. More or less, I would like to tell, it's more like a happiness mindset which some people have. You will see some people, they are always happy, they are always smiling, they are always laughing, but you will find another set of people, whenever you see them, they are in a poignant situation. When you see them, you feel very unhappy seeing them also. So, what's your comment on that?
Happiness, sir, could you just reframe your question again?
What I'm trying to tell is, happiness is a mindset.
Yeah, so mental
some people,
health,
they always remain happy, but we find some other, section of the people, they are always sad and they are always complaining. Do you get my point?
Yes.
So, what do you think the second section should do to be happy like the first section?
See, it's all about, as I said in the beginning, it's all about being. You have to be at peace with your own self.
Right.
You have to be happy internally. It's only then you can bring a marriage between happiness and your outer self. Sometimes it could be that people are trying to hide it, and it might lead to, as you mentioned about, it affects your mental peace, and which may lead into some other form and come out in the world. So, yeah, you have to have peace within yourself. That is more important in having maintaining your happiness throughout.
Right.
It should not be a fake smile that we're trying to give, and
right.
But they also say
people understand also what is real smile and fake smile.
Exactly.
People understand. You can't make people fool, always.
Yeah.
Right.
But of course, when it comes to places like competitions, when you're on the fashion ramp walking, and these titles that you're getting, they always say that fake it till you make it. So yeah, that's another way of looking at it, although I have never tried that. I feel one should be genuine, and if you're a genuine person, that happiness of being genuine itself, you're not carrying a baggage with you in that case.
Do you think seminars, FDPs and workshops are somewhat common in NIFT to keep both the faculty and also the students updated with what's happening in the world?
Yes, very much.
Could you speak a bit on that?
Yes. So, I will just tell you, in NIFT we call them as not FDPs as such, we call them as FIA. So, it's a faculty industry attachment. So, the faculty works in the industry for some time and finds solutions to problems that the industry is facing. So, they are actually learning the processes in the industry and finding. So, they are as good as being employed in the industry. So, in that way it gives them that what is happening in the current trend. So, this helps in bridging a gap between industry and education. So, this is a very, very important and a relevant
So, when they get updated, they can also share it with other faculties, they can share it with the students
in the classroom. Yes.
So, as a result of which everybody is benefited.
Correct.
And at the same time also the industry is also getting students of their choice also. I think
Yes.
that must be helping
Yes.
them.
Not only of their choice, but also, you know, I'll just give you an example. When I was working with the same FIA with the ABFRL, Peter England is the brand with which I was working. So there were certain models that I developed, you know. So I gave them back those models. So which were the kind of solutions that I was trying to tell them. So it's, for me, it was 1 week of research and trying to understand how the organization works, and then giving back to the organization, you know. So we come with so many years of experience which we share with the industry. So it's like a give and take with the industry.
Right.
And it helps, the same thing what I have learnt over there helps me in the process, that my students get benefited out of it.
Right.
They get to know what exactly is happening in the industry, you know, even if they have not gone to the industry yet.
Right.
The internship starts only in the 6th semester. So till that time, we are bringing in what we have learned from the industry to the students.
Right. And when we talk about placements
Yeah.
in different parts of the country, in different organizations, what do you think is the, I would say, outcome of this 4-year or 3-year course in NIFT? Are the students getting employment, placements? Is it okay, fine, or they have to really struggle to get a job?
Yeah, the placements in NIFT, in fact, I would say last year was 80%.
That's
See,
80%.
it all, yeah, so which I feel is a good number in terms of an
80% is
institute.
definitely a good number.
Yes. So especially when you know, we have a recession going on and we have companies laying off people. So at that point of time, I think 80% is a great number for NIFT. And we always tell our students, it's your portfolio. See, I always tell my students that it is not the marks which will only matter for you in term when you're trying to look for placements in design, you know. It's also your portfolios that matter. So the kind of work that you do, and that is the biggest advantage of a design education vis-a-vis any other engineering college, you know. So they do a lot of hands-on work, and that's what is going to help them in terms of their placements.
Though you have recently joined in Bhubaneswar, what's your perception about Odisha and its craft?
Oh, so perception, I would first want to say perception about Odisha, because I am really impressed with the place. In fact, the first time I came over here, which was in Jan, I went back and I told my husband, you know, what a beautifully planned city it is. And beautifully done roads there. I mean, I come from a city of Bangalore, which is very, very famous for its traffic. And here, you know, such nicely planned city, no
I fully agree with
traffic,
you.
and
Odisha is really, you know, doing
very well planned.
Yeah, very well planned.
Yeah. So
now we have come to the last phase of our interface, and I would request you to kindly give a message to our viewers as the director of NIFT Bhubaneswar.
So yeah, my message would be, you know, I would love to quote here something what Steve Jobs said. He is another inspiration for me. You know, do what you love. If you do what you love, then what you do would always come out beautiful. So love what you do. That is my message.
Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Namaskar.